All right, people, what's going on? It's Wednesday, the 11th of December 2024. It's noon here in Germany. This is the Insanity Report for today. And today we're going to talk about the wimpy-ass Supreme Court who denied to hear a case by a group of families in Wisconsin who had sued the school of their children because of their transgender care policy or whatever the hell the thing is called. Basically, what it means is the same thing as in California. This school district, or this school in specifically wanted to legally be able to hide the children's transgenderism from the parents. So if a kid wants to transition or feels like he or she is in the wrong body, I mean, this shit is so crazy. It makes me so angry every time I have to talk about it. But okay, this is the deal, right? They want to be able to keep that information from the parents, so they're going to help the child by using the pronouns they want, allowing them to dress at school how they want, and be seen by the other children how they want to be seen. So basically what they do is they force the other kids to go along with whatever delusion the transgender kid is having, and that policy, so they're not allowed to tell the parents of the kid in question about the transgenderism, right? So basically they want to hide it from the parents, and their reason for this is, well, the kid has to be supported in the transgenderism because this is the new ideology, right? It is completely insane, absolutely insane, and they want to be able to hide the child's transition wishes from the parents so that the parents can't stand in the way of it, right? This is completely unacceptable, okay? Completely unacceptable. It is unacceptable that in a so-called free country that the school or the people at the school gets to decide legally what the parents learn about or not. So the school decides, the kid might not be supported in his transgenderism at home, so we're just going to keep it from the parents. Now, how far does that go? Don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's other schools in the United States that have basically vaccinated kids without the parents' permission, behind the parents' back. Nothing is happening to them either, right? They're illegally allowed to do it, which is it's crazy to me. If you want violence, then you have to do exactly these type of things, right? Because at some point, they're going to catch the wrong parent with this kind of shit, right? So anyway, these parents from Wisconsin, they sued. Both of the lower courts threw the suit out, and the Supreme Court refused to hear it based, again, on their favorite excuse of all, the standing excuse. Now, I've had constitutional people who understand the Constitution and the law better than I do, explain the standing to me over and over again. It doesn't matter. I think it's a cop-out. I think it's a cop-out bullshit rule that the court can just use to stay out of politically touchy questions if they want. Just like they did with the election cases of 2020. They decided they're not going to touch that shit. Too politically toxic. And so they're just going to leave it alone. Crime or not, proof or not, evidence or not, no standing. Sorry, the election's over. You got no standing. And they did the same to these parents because they don't have a transgender kid. So they don't have standing because they don't have a problem, right? This is not happening to them. And what the court is basically saying is only a parent of a transgender kid to whom this has happened, right? And let's remember, transgender kids are not a thing. This is a fad, like the fucking, the emos or the jocks or whatever, the druggies or whatever the fuck it was in our time. At school, we had fads. Some people, clicked with this fad, other people clicked with that fad, but the transgender kids are not a thing. They're only a thing because academics, teachers, doctors, and psychologists, psychiatrists, and counselors are making it a thing, right? They are stimulating these children to believe that they are born in the wrong body and that they can do something to help alleviate their bad feelings about it. No, if these kids really feel like they're born in the wrong body, they need a psychiatrist, right? Their head needs to be checked, okay? And as a parent, yeah, a parent should never go along with this insanity. But a lot of parents are weak, and they do. Anyway, the court decided on standing basis. These people have no standing. They don't have a transgender kid, so they're not being affected by this policy, and therefore the case is moot, and it was thrown out, and that's it. So that's it for them. So now my recommendation to them is, one of you must have a pretty smart kid that is not into all this crazy shit that you can talk to, right? And what I would do is I would have the kid go to school and pretend like they want to be transgender, right? And they basically, you honeypot them, right? So they have a kid, they want to be transgender, the kid goes to school, acts like he wants to be transgender, talks to the counselor, talks to the teacher, and then the teacher decides not to tell the parents. Now all of a sudden they have standing, and then they can sue again. That would be my first move. That would be my first move, is to basically rope the school into a case to which you do have standing, okay? Because the fact is, their argument, of course, was, well, if they're going to do this about the transgenderism bullshit, then they could do this with anything. Like, for example, vaccinating your kids without your permission. Like that. You know what I mean? So, yes, that's what that means. It means basically this school and these school districts, they can do whatever they want behind the parents' back. And unless the parents catch it, you know, they can basically continue to do it. Right? And it could be anything. It's this, in this case, they're open about it. It's the transgenderism policy. But what else are they going to be lying to parents about? So I believe that these parents absolutely have standing because they want to be able to cut the school off at the knees before some sort of harm happens, right? It doesn't do much good if your kid is already fucking wearing a dress at school and you find out about this transgender bullshit a year later and then you sue. You still have to go through this whole drama with your kid, which you might not have had to do if you would have found out about it right away. Because me as a parent, right, and we're talking about 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, kids, I would have, if the school would call me and say, well, your son or your daughter is, feels like he or she has been born in the wrong body and they want to go through transition and blah, blah, blah. The first day after school that my kid comes home, I would set that kid straight real fast. Yep, that's right. None of this transgender BS bullshit is going to happen in my fucking house. Not under my roof. It's not to be talked about again. It's dead right here. End of story. And any fucking teacher, right, that tells you otherwise is going to have to deal with me, and you are going to tell me about it. Right? Trust me, I would be much more scary than any teacher at school would be, and my kid, I can guarantee it, would adopt whatever policy I gave it. That's the way parenting's supposed to work, people. Sorry. If you didn't know that, that's it, right? The school doesn't decide jack shit. I decide everything. End of story. And that would be the end of it. But if I found out about it a year later, then my kid has already been brainwashed for a fucking year, and now I've got all kinds of mental problems and bullshit I have to deal with to talk that kid off the ledge and back into reality, which I wouldn't have if it was day one. And I would rely on the school to inform me about things like this, right? That's what they're there for. They cannot hide that shit from me. But they can in Wisconsin, they can in California. And so, like I said, the first step, in my opinion, would be get your kid to honeypot these people. You know what I'm saying? I know honeypot's the wrong word for it, but entrap them. That's basically it, right? Entrap them. So have your kid, if he's smart enough or she's smart enough and will play ball, right? Then have them go to school, pretend like they want to be transgender, get the teacher to lie, and then take the fucking school to court. Because that's apparently the reason why the Supreme Court refused to hear it, because they didn't have standing. So make it that you do have standing, right? And if that doesn't work, or you don't want to go through that trouble, pull your kids out of these schools, right? Pull your kids out of these schools before you get put in a position where a violent reaction will be the only solution. Because right now, these idiotic, crazy ideologies are being protected. This woke shit, trans shit, is being protected by the law, right? So they have more rights than you. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And hopefully when Trump gets elected or Trump is back in office, things will change, right? Hopefully. But these people are ideologically driven and they're dangerous, right? And they have more rights than you do. That's just the way it is. Just like in Germany and in European countries, Muslims and Islamists have more rights than the regular person, because that's the way the politicians want it. They're ideologically captured, dangerous people who will put the faux rights of minority groups and other people over the rights of their own citizens. And the own citizens have to take a backseat to Islamism, Muslimism, transgenderism, whatever the fuck it is, for all of these things, right? And hopefully that'll change in the States. We'll see what happens in the European countries. Right now it is not looking good, but we'll get into that tomorrow in the Insanity Report. So, people, I don't know what else to tell you. This is why I'm glad I don't have kids, because I would be in prison. I would be in prison if I had kids and any of this crazy shit ever happened to the kids, or information was kept from me by the school. There would be hell to pay, right? Of course, I would try every legal avenue I could, every legal thing I could. And if none of those things worked and I was not helped, legally, then I would resort to intimidation. You know what I'm saying? I would resort to intimidation. And if it got too bad, if any of my kids were ever vaccinated without my knowledge or given puberty blockers without my knowledge, somebody's getting their ass whooped for sure. For sure. If that, right? For sure. I'll tell you right now, I'm not trying to hide it. None of that shit. Now, I'll luckily not be put in this position. You know what I mean? Because I don't have kids, right? But somebody out there, another father out there who does have kids and who will be put in this position is going to react the same way as me. And the problems are just going to get bigger, right? Because these people do need to be set straight. And if the law doesn't want to do it, and the state doesn't want to do it, and they want to let these people run roughshod over the rights of parents and over the rights of women, this transgender bullshit, then it looks to me like violence is going to be the only solution. Either intimidation or violence. That's what it looks like. And that's what I think the politicians and the state, I think that's what they want, right? They want one of the parents to get violent so they can say, look, it's transgender hate. And this is exactly why we don't tell the parents, because things like this happen then. And then the kid's life is ruined while they're ruining the kid's life, right? That's what they're going to do. But that's what they are going to bring it to. Just like with the CEO guy that got shot, right? At some point, the wrong person's claims are going to be denied after they've paid into this health insurance company for decades. And then they get something that's wrong with them or something's wrong with their family or children, and their claim gets denied. Hey, somebody is going to react violently to that. You know what I'm saying? Because the state and the legal system have become ideologically captured. And I guess the only way to solve that problem is intimidation and violence. That's what it looks like. If somebody else has got a different idea or a different way, you tell me. You know what I mean? Because I would love it if it didn't have to come to violence or intimidation. But it does sure look like that's going to be the only way you can get things done. Because otherwise, the legal system is just going to protect the transgender insanity, the woke insanity, the Islamist insanity, whatever the insanity of the day might be. It looks like the courts and the state, the politicians, and the people with power are going to let these ideologies trample on everybody else's rights and everybody else's existence without any handbrake to it, you know what I mean? And they're just going to let them do it. So the people are unfortunately left to fend for themselves. And then you've got two choices. You just shut up, get on your knees, kiss the ring, and accept it. Or you fight back whatever way you can. And if it then comes down to having to get violent to protect your children, I think a lot of parents put in that situation would probably do that. So I guess that's what the politicians are waiting for. I guess that's what the Supreme Court wants to happen, because they refuse to step in, even though these people have a perfectly good case. You know what I mean? If a school decides they're going to keep one thing from the parents, they could keep anything from the parents. That's just logic. You know what I mean? These people have way too much power, and it needs to be rolled back as fast as possible before things get really out of hand. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. It's absolutely insane that we've got to this point that this kind of stuff is being protected by the law and the legal system and the politicians. It's madness. That means that basically the law has no real function anymore. You can't trust it. You can't rely on it because it's wishy-washy. It's whatever judge you get. It's whatever jury you get. It's, well, you know, if you're in a state where they love this transgender kids cutting off little kids' dick shit, right, then that you just got to live with it. The law's not going to help you. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, guys. Sorry. You're fucked. So nobody knows what their rights are anymore. The rights that they supposedly have can be taken at any moment. Look at COVID, right? So we are in a dire situation here in the West. That's why this kind of shit pisses me off so much, even though I'm not really confronted with it. Because if it's already to this point, it's going to go further and further. And there seems to be no one with power that wants to, is willing to do anything about it. So you cannot trust the justice system. You can't trust the institutions. You can't trust your school. You can't trust the teachers. Basically, regular law-abiding citizens are left to fend for themselves. So why even have government at all? Why pay taxes? Why fuck with it? You know what I'm saying? You're not getting anything out of it. No, as a matter of fact, it's being used against you. So you're paying taxes to a government that it will turn on you if you try to fight for parental rights, or you try to fight for women's rights, or you try to fight for less immigration because your whole city, your whole county, your whole state is being turned into a whole nother culture, right? No, you can't go too much against that either because that's xenophobic or whatever the fuck. So this crazy woke shit, God, it has to be stopped. And luckily, Trump got reelected because it sent a signal to all of America that most of America is done with this woke shit. And if you have the chance now to roll that shit back on your own, back off and back down, right? Now's your chance. When Trump gets back into office and the law is suddenly on our side, right? Things are going to look very different, right? I've always said these doctors that are mutilating kids, they should stop now while they still can, because when Trump gets elected or Trump gets in office, it very well could be that the laws change and that what they have done by mutilating little children is deemed illegal, and then they've got a whole shitload of problems to look at, right? But a lot of these people are just going to keep going with the woke shit until they get a big slap on the wrist. That's what it's going to take, because right now they know everybody's scared to fight them, everybody's scared to say something because they have the law and the politicians on their side. But people, all you wokesters out there, all you pro-transgendering kids people, that is about to change, I am telling you. Now is your chance to come back to reality when Trump is back in office and the right people are in the DOJ and the right district attorneys are out there, and it's no longer scary to be anti-woke. You people are in for a fucking hurting, right? And everything you guys get, you deserve it, right? If it's jail time for mutilating children, you deserve it. If you don't get to work at schools anymore because you're untrustworthy as a teacher or counselor, that's too bad for you. You know what I mean? Beat it. It's going to be changing. And luckily, Trump got in, because that means there's a big chance it's going to change without violence from the people. But if this were to continue, I guarantee you, people are going to eventually have enough of it. And when that moment comes, there will be no reasonable talking, no reasonable discussion anymore with those people, right? None. Because I'm a pretty open-minded person, right? But I've gotten to the point now with some of this shit that I'm like, okay, there is no discussion to be had here, people. You know what I mean? The trans thing is not a thing. If you're an adult and you want to run around in a skirt and whatever the fuck, you can. It doesn't bother me. Go for it. You know what I mean? But if you want to work in my establishment, you can't wear a skirt if you're a man. If you want to go into the military, you can't fucking be a transgender that the military support all these operations and all that shit. No, none of that shit. No special treatment anymore. There's going to be none, right? And I don't give a shit what the arguments are. I'm done talking about it. It's crazy, right? That's my stance. And about children, there's no discussion. No discussion whatsoever. Mutilating kids in the name of transgenderism is wrong, no matter how you slice it, no matter what excuses you have, no matter what evidence you bring, no matter how many studies you show me. I don't give a fuck, right? I don't give a fuck. Not one fuck. Not one. Okay? And if it was my kid, you could argue with me all day. Somebody's getting beat the fuck up. Right? That's where I'm at. And I don't even have kids. So just imagine the amount of parents out there that are like, no. That feel exactly like I feel and will get pushed into a corner by this craziness that they are not willing to stand in. That's what I think is going to happen. So guys, think about this. You know what I mean? Think about this. We have got to do everything we can to squash this woke mind virus right away. We have to crush it completely. No empathy, no compassion, none. It has to be slit. The throat of the woke shit has to be slit from ear to ear. That is the only solution. And people, we can't rely on just Donald Trump and the politicians to do it. The people on the ground, the regular citizens, must start getting in gear, right? We have to squash it. It's way too dangerous. And we've seen it the last 10 years get worse and worse and worse. So we've got to kill it while we can. When we have the political backing, which we do at this moment, especially in the States, right? With Donald Trump and his team, the political backing is going to change. It's no longer going to be on the side of wokeism. It's going to be more on the side of realism. And now is our chance to act as citizens. I recommend everybody do so. And again, to the parents in Wisconsin, please, one of you, have your kid go in and trap these people so you have a case. Let the Supreme Court take the case so that this shit is done all over America. The Supreme Court just has to rule on it, and then the whole shit is over in schools. That's what we need to do. So please, parents, get active. Entrap the school, do a lawsuit, especially if you have money, go for it. That's what I would do. All right, people, that's it for today. If you guys want to get my stuff directly in your inbox, all you got to do is subscribe to the Substack. You can do that below. The links are there. You can do it for free. You can also do it for $5 a month. Either one is fine. And then you get all my stuff, articles, videos, everything directly into your inbox when they come out. Instead of having to wait for a notification or scour the internet to try to find something, you'll get it all directly sent to you, which is the easiest way. All right, people, if you're watching this somewhere else, go to it'sallaboutlogic.substack.com. That's it'sallaboutlogic.substack.com. Subscribe there for free or for $5 a month. Peace out. See you guys tomorrow.